I'm just a mom. There's no way. But I applied anyway. Bill asked me to meet with him, and I was terrified, and I wasn't just terrified that I would be the right person, I was also terrified that this was as good as it sounded it was going to be. Do you know what I mean? I was just like, please let this be what I think it's going to be. And I just sat with him, and he started to explain the vision of Catalyst, and I was so intrigued. And I just want to tell you a little bit about what Catalyst really is, as he explained it to me that day. I'm going to drink the water, hold on. My lip gloss is getting in my way. So it started out as a group of pastors, actually, 4 or 5 years ago, I think, who, you know, if you look around in Lake County, there are churches everywhere. There's like 5 times as many churches as there are McDonald's, which is just fascinating to me. And so a couple pastors started to realize this and go, hey, you're doing something, I'm doing something, you're doing something, why are we all trying to do this by ourselves? Let's get together and do some stuff together. Oh, there's an idea. And again, the big church, we're one body of Christ. We're supposed to be the church. We're not supposed to be your church and your church and your church. So a bunch of pastors started getting together and just praying together and meeting, and it just took off. And so Catalyst was then formed, and they really started to try to push this idea across Lake County to churches all over the place. And the number one thing that we really feel with Catalyst is that God calls us to unity. He calls us. There's verses all throughout the Bible that talks about it. My favorite, simple and short, Psalm 133:1, how good and pleasant it is when our brothers live in unity. There's too much fighting among churches right now. I'm going to get on my soapbox for just a second. Because if we cannot stop fighting about our denominational differences and come together, the community is not going to see the church. And it's so important that they, thank you, yes! They need to see us working together. So I think that's something that Catalyst is very, very passionate about. And at the same time, we can share resources to really learn how to get out there and do. A church might want to do a food drive, and they've never done one before, and they're trying to figure out, how do we do this? And the church right around the corner has been doing it for 15 years. You know, so why are we trying to reinvent the wheel? Let's do things together. So that's what Catalyst is really all about, bringing churches together and showing them ways to get out into the community, to get out there and make a difference. And basically, there are 4 initiatives of Catalyst. I have to read this part because I do not have this part memorized. Renewing the hearts of God's people. We do quarterly prayer gatherings for churches so that you can just get inspired. We need prayer for this to work. Repositioning the church to move, which is sharing resources, best practices, you know, what I just talked about. We've done this before. Let's do this together. Rebuilding Christian community, and this is a huge part. It's one thing to get out into your community, but it's another thing, as I've been saying, to do it together. And so we really encourage on a smaller level and smaller areas for pastors to get together and pray. Just 5 or 6 pastors. Get together, share your struggles, talk about what's hard, what's not fun about being a pastor, just support each other. And then restoring the reputation of Christ, and that's where we get into all of our initiatives. Catalyst has something called ShareFest. We do a backpack drive where we pull all the churches together that want to participate, and we raise as many backpacks as we can. Now here's the cool thing. It's one thing for one church to raise 500 backpacks, and that is incredible. But when somebody can take notice of the church raising 6,000 backpacks, we make a splash. People take notice. We're getting articles written in the newspaper, and all of a sudden, what's this church doing, you know? It makes a bigger impact. So that's kind of the idea of those types of things. And then there's a season of service in October where every church picks just something in the community. You can do whatever you want, but every church is out there in the same month doing it all at the exact same time. So for that month, the church is just on the move, which is a really, really cool thing to see. Alpha, which you've heard about here, talked about, and Manuel is very involved in, is something that Catalyst really encourages churches to get into. It's just, if you haven't heard of it, just a kind of exploring Christianity and the basics in a very non-threatening way. I'm not trying to convert anybody. It's just, do you want to hear what it's all about? Let's lay it out for you. So those are a few of the things that Catalyst is all about. And as you can imagine, where I'm at and what I've been feeling, I'm listening to Bill talk just like, yes, that's amazing. You know, I was just like, I want to do it truck driver. I went to go talk with my husband. I didn't know yet if I got the job, which I did. And I'm shaking. I felt like I had just won the lottery. I promise you, I felt like I had just won the lottery. Oh, and I forgot the best part. At the very end of our interview, I said, so how does this kind of flexible work from home thing work? And he says, well, I mean, you can work from home most of the time, and if you do need to go in the office, just bring your kids with you. What? You know, like, it was like, this is too good to be true. This is incredible. This is awesome. I felt so incredibly blessed. Oh, and the best part was one of the major initiatives of Catalyst is Adopt a School. And I didn't even know that this is something that Catalyst was into, but they encourage every church to find a school in their area and just meet the needs. No strings attached. No, we'll do this if you come to our church, which I've tried before. I wasn't thinking. But just really getting in there and meeting the needs. And so when Bill had heard that I had already done something like that before I'd even heard of Catalyst, I think that's what got me the job, actually. Kidding, God got me the job. So, I mean, hearing that, it was just like, our vision is so aligned. You know, this is so exciting. And so even when I was thinking of talking to you guys today, it sounds like that's kind of the end of the story, you know, and I was going to just kind of tell you about Catalyst and let that be the end of the story. And the funny thing is, though, for me personally, that was not the end of the story, and that was just the beginning of what God was trying to teach me about community, and it went so much deeper than I asked for, which is how God always works. But actually, things were not as exciting and wonderful and glorious when I first went to Catalyst as I thought. And I did kind of sense that when I first started working. It was probably a month into it, when I was still kind of on that high of, wow, God just totally fixed all my problems. It's so cool. And something just kind of hit me. You know, I don't think God put me here to fix my daycare problems. Because if that's what he was interested in, he could have just had some babysitter knock on my door that just felt like babysitting my kids for free because she loved them so much, you know. He didn't have to, like, bring me to this job. And I just got this sense that I was into something much bigger than I had originally thought. And that there was a bigger point to all of this. And so I started to struggle, actually, at Catalyst. It was a bigger adjustment than I thought. First of all, coming from corporate America, where everything has a procedure, how to boot up your computer. Step 1, turn it on. Step 2, wait for it to turn on. Step 3, you know what I mean? Like, there's no thinking about anything. There's just, here's how you do it. And to move to a ministry where it's like there's no protocol, there's no, like, oh, I don't know, what do you feel like doing? I'm anal and organized, and I want directions, I want everything to be clear, so that just, it was really hard for me. Secondly, flexibility has its downside. I'm checking my email at 11 o'clock at night. I'm laying my head on my pillow when I go to sleep at night thinking about Catalyst. That was a huge change for me. I am dealing with my son was 8 months old when I started. I'm still hormonal. I don't know why it took me so long to get normal again, but I was crazy. So, and work and life are now like colliding for the first time, you know. I was in my boss's office that entire first year in tears, like, please just bear with me, I'm trying to figure it all out. I thought he must think, like, what was I thinking hiring this girl? I mean, really, he'll tell you, he had moments of like, you need medication. So it was a way bigger adjustment, and I remember thinking at one point, what was God thinking? Is this some sick joke? How would he like make me think that I'm going to this really awesome place and then just totally, it was a bait and switch, and I was really ticked off about it. And then the biggest thing behind all of this was actually my issue with motherhood and what I was trying to do as a mother at the same time. And when I became a mother, I had determined that I was going to be the best mother that anybody had ever seen, because I was settled on the fact that it was a huge calling. You know, enough people have told me this is the most important thing you're ever going to do. Which, like, you know what I mean? Like, I took that pretty seriously.